Hello ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? It's your boy Lith here, and today I bring you another tank review for Armoured Warfare. In today's video we're going to be covering the Tier 8 Type 98. This is a Chinese main battle tank under Zhang Feng's dealership. This is of course the top tier vehicle for that line, being that there is only the one line in that tech tree currently. More to be added at a later date, I would hopefully assume. What we're going to do is we're just going to give this a brief rundown of the stats, because I don't know what to make of this vehicle. It's peculiar. Let's just say that. So let's have a look here. The damage, it's fairly average for something of that tier that's not Russian. Penetration is 547 millimeters. Again, yeah, it's fairly standard. Average DPM of 4.4k and a reload time of 7.79. That again is variable depending on the retrofits you have installed. Its basic hull hit points is 2,405. The hull armor is 350 on the front, 80 on the side, and 70 on the rear. You will notice it's got a very Russian design on the hull. I think it dones from either the T-72 or the T-80. I still can't make up my mind as to which one it is. I'm thinking more towards the T-80 because of the higher armor values. It's obviously composite. That's the hull composition, and it's got better defenses against shaped charge ammunition with a defense rating of 2.0 as opposed to 1.3 on armored piercing and high explosive. The turret armor, 380 on the front, 300 on the side, and 80 on the back. So if you go hold down, you start angling your turret with this thing, you can be quite a force to be reckoned with. Again, same statistics on the modifier / normalization with the hull armor, again with 1.3 for high explosive and iron piercing, and shape charge being 2.0. Reasonably quick, I would say. 64.8 kilometers. 0 to 32 kilometers is in 7.3 seconds. To be honest with you, again, quite standard for a tier 8 main battle tank. Camouflage factor is 0.13. This thing is not particularly stealthy. View range of 400 meters. Gun cannon depression is 8 degrees and 4. And turret traverse is 33.49 degrees per second, which is, you do feel that again, it's quite nasty. The accuracy spread is 0.1, and the aim time is 2.67. I would say the only really good thing about this thing is the aim time and the accuracy, personally. I mean, however you look at it, this is a fairly good tank when it comes to the targeting systems and the hull defense. This is just a really weird tank. I've been confused with the Chinese line. Like from tier 1 to 6, they were amazing to play. Then you hit the tier 7 and it's disgusting. It is a horrible, really bad tank to play. And then you get this, and I don't know what to make of it. It's got a Russian hull, and it's got a sort of a Western designed turret with a Russian gun. It's a 125mm on this thing, without that Russian alpha damage. I don't know what to make of this thing, and this isn't a fully upgraded one either, so I've got very few retrofits on it. I've got the gyroscopic stabilizers just for that increased aim and reload time, because I think that's one of the things that lets this tank down, is the reload on it. I personally think could be better when you compare it to some of the other equal tiered tanks. Aim time is just a bonus. The quicker you aim in, I find the better it is. I've got, well, you do get quite a few ammunition options on this. I'm just going to go into the upgrade slot here. I'm going to get rid of this screen for you. And you can see the ammo options here. It gets, obviously this is the higher tiered, or the top end armor piercing it gets. It gets high explosive fragmentation, or whatever the fuck that it gets. Fragmentation, fin stabilized. You get ATGMs on this thing, and you get high explosive anti-tank. Later on, you get thermobaric ATGMs on it as well, which is fairly interesting. You get an engine, and you obviously get the anti-projectile system, or active protection system, as people call it. What is it called in game and in real life? I just call it the anti-projectile system. I don't know why, but hey, when I look at it, I think let's make something up here that fits that description and fail horribly. But yeah, as I was saying, this tank is a weird one, and it plays. I mean, you'd think with a Russian hull you'd be able to angle that armor, but as soon as you as soon as you angle to about this sort of degree here, bam, they're going straight through your side. You know, if they've got even this, I don't know. I really don't know with this tank. It's confusing. It's a really, really interesting makeup of design, and I don't even know. I mean, all I know is it works, and if it's stupid but it works, it's not stupid. So, on that note, let's throw it into a game to give you guys a better idea as to how this thing works, instead of me either trash talking this thing or glorifying it, however you want to look at my confusion with regards to this machine, and get an idea for it yourselves.
And here we go, guys. Here's this PvP game. As you can tell, this is a live game, so we're actually doing everything as we're playing it. Oh boy, has it been a bitch to try and get this footage captured. I played multiple games in this tank. Multiple. Every time failing to actually get a fairly, just an average result to showcase everything to do with this vehicle. And when you're getting tier 9 games constantly, I've got no problem with this. If I was in a T8, a T90, I would have no problem in a tier 9 game. But this tank is drastically underpowered when it comes to countering the bigger tanks. It just cannot put up against those larger calibered guns or higher penetrating rounds. It just does not work. And I found that this was a problem that I was constantly encountering. Even in the games where I was top tier, I just couldn't stand up. The armor on this tank couldn't stand up to what it was facing. At one point, I got penetrated by a T-72A frontally with a high explosive round. And this is, what? High explosive round frontally? Into a tier 8 tank? And not just any tier 8 tank, a main battle tank? It's unheard of. You wouldn't do that to a T. You couldn't do that to a T90. You couldn't do that to an Arietta. You couldn't do that to a Leopard. But no, the Chinese main battle tanks are different. Ridiculously lightly armoured. And you do feel it. You feel it. Oh boy, do you feel it. It is not pleasant when you're driving one of these things and you get thrown into one of these higher tiered fights, because there's nothing you can do that'll protect you from them. I loaded an ATGM here and I don't know why I did. Trying to go for a skill shot there with the ATGM, failing horribly. That would have penned, I think, as well. Got to aim towards the rear of the Arietta to even have a slight chance of penetrating him. Bouncing the second return shot from him. And I think we just took shots from two different tanks though. The T90 MS and possibly the Leo behind him, because that really hurt. Just waiting for you to peek and That's all they do. They wait for you to peek. It's smart of them to do so as well, because they know that there's nothing this tank can do to protect against their shells. They've just got such high penetration that the armor on this tank is redundant. I don't know how I blocked that shot from an XM8 in the side, but it happened. This tank is drastically underpowered for its tier. And the muzzle velocity, as you can see, that isn't that great either. It's all well and good having statistics on paper about a tank, but when you're not actually getting the bang for your buck, it's a little frustrating to play this vehicle. Neutralize the majority of the threats on that flank. Push up a little bit. I don't want to get too ambitious, because my armor is, as you guys have already seen, quite dreadful when comparing it to equal tiered targets. It just does not stand up to the tests or the firepower of other tanks. It's just such... This is what I was saying when I was confused about it. It's got a Russian gun, a Russian hull, a Western style turret, but with none of the aspects that make those things good. I mean, there are good things about this vehicle, but the armor is certainly not one of them. The gun performance is, to be honest with you, quite lousy. It's not at all that good. Thinking I can take a shot from a Challenger. Oh, that was a Challenger 2. I thought it was a Challenger 1. That's my fault for misreading that. Still, we put a big shot into him. He panned us with armor piercing, okay? Average damage for that thing is 600. That's my fault for not seeing that. But we racked up 3.1k damage in that game, and it's a victory. But yeah, this tank for me is just... I don't know. I can't place it. I really can't place this tank. It's... good top speed. I mean, it gets to the top speed relatively quickly. I've got no problems with the top speed of this vehicle. When it comes to turning left and right with a whole traverse, it is disgusting. When it comes to the turret traverse, it is disgusting. When it comes to the gun performance, it's a good gun when it hits, but the muzzle velocity on these rounds is just so epically shit. You just like I said, you just can't compete with equal tiered opponents like the Ariete, the Leo, and the T90. It just doesn't have any ground to stand on. I think am I missing a tank here at tier 8? I am missing a tank. Of course, the A1. Even the A1 has a gun that's more reliable than this, and statistics that are more reliable than this thing. This is, I would say, definitely, from my experience, the worst tier 8 main battle tank in the game. And that's not to say you can't get a good result in this game. I have seen some games where people have performed exceptionally with this thing, and I've even asked them, how do you do that? How do you do that with such a bad tank, that, in my opinion, a tank that I have just seen no success with. But anyways, guys, that was the tank review you requested. Next, in the comment section from the BMP one. If you guys have a tank you'd like to have reviewed next, again, put it in the comment section. Oh, no more Chinese tanks, please. Like I said, tiers 1 to 6 I enjoyed playing, but tier 7, ugh, disgusting. And then tier 8, Tier 8 is just, no, it can't compete. It can't compete that well with other equal tiered and higher tiered opponents. But anyways, guys, that's enough from me. If you like this video, please, leave a comment in the section below just to let me know if you want to see more of this content, if you want to see more replays of good games. And again, what vehicle you'd like to see reviewed next. And on that bombshell, guys, I'll leave you to it. Adios.